it's Daphne. I'm back and we're going to continue working on the Graphic 45 Magic of Oz album. And just as a reminder, this is an 8.5 by 8.5 mini album. And I've already got a couple of videos out for this, and we are going to continue where we dropped off. And we last finished page 3. So now we're going to work on page 4. And page 4, I'm going to get this out of the way. Page 4 is the same as page 2. So it's going to have one of these multi-flip features in the middle of it. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. So here is the pattern that I chose for the mat. And then this is going to be the topper on our exploding box. It's not really a box, but sort of the exploding feature. And again, I want it to be the same as the first one. So I want the flip when you open the... Sorry about the brief intermission there. My partner Julie was getting a hold of me, and we were just touching base. So sorry for the pause, but we'll get back to it. So we're on page 4, and we're going to lay down the mat. And then, like I had mentioned before, we've got this piece that's going to lay in the center of that. So with that, I'm going to sit down and try to keep my voice raised so y'all can hear me. And I do want to let you know that on my list of things to get is a microphone. I purchased one and it didn't work out for me. So my husband's looking to find something else that might work for me. So hopefully this will be a short-term problem. And I do try to edit my videos before I upload them and adjust the volume, but occasionally I forget. So I apologize if that is the case. And hopefully I'll have that. Let me get my contrast paper solved permanently here in the near future. All right. That is in. I want to thank everybody for taking time to share with us here at Scrap and Create and to send us all those wonderful comments. We appreciate it, and we do take it to heart. If there's something we can improve, we definitely would like to do that. I want to welcome all our new subscribers. We've had a lot of new subscribers in the last month, and we really appreciate it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. If you're not a subscriber, one of the benefits of being a subscriber is you get notified when we have new content, so you don't have to go looking for it per se. So take a minute and hit that subscribe button. If you're new to the channel, I want to point out that if you click the more button under the description, there's a description, it's usually about a sentence worth. And then if you click the more button, that's where you're going to find some additional information. And some of the information that a lot of you are looking for are the cut lists, and that's where you'll find it. So click the more button and you'll get to the cut list. You'll also get to a material list with some links to the shop to purchase the materials that are used in the project. But I do know that the cut list is important to y'all, and that's where it's at. We try to keep it there for you to use. If you don't want to try to keep track of what's going on as you're watching the video, you can print that out and have it. I also, at least in my videos, go back and edit, and then on the videos where I'm installing the flaps, pockets, and the interactive components to the album, I will also run a banner strip during the installation process that will, again, tell you what size the mat is and where to score. Now that's only for the interactive pieces of the album. It does not cover the designer paper. Everybody likes, not everybody likes the same space around their mats. Some people want a 1/4 inch, some an 1/8, and like me, I want a 1/16. So I don't give you that cut list. I will give you the cut for these flaps, and then you'll have to back off appropriate amounts to get the desired look you're after. All right. Okay, so got a couple of choices here. We have that or this, and I'm liking this better. These actually, they're these sort of round people with pointy hats, and they actually remind me of Oompa Loompas from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. They don't really remind me of Wizard of Oz, but they're cute. They're funny. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start laying these down. I'm going to double check my orientation. Yeah. So I just want to make sure I've got the top in the right position. And the top being the flap with the largest gusset in the hinge is going to be the one that closes last. And the one that's just got a single is the one that closes first. And I want all mine to open and close the same. So I'm installing all mine in the same direction. You don't have to, but that's what I'm doing. And before I get much further, I want to remember to put my magnet in. So I know that I'm going to need a magnet under here and on here. So I'm going to go ahead and get that magnet put in. And when I say here, this is the top one, so it's behind that designer paper. That's our first magnet. And then the adjoining magnet is going to be right here. Double checking my sides. Yeah, that's correct. So I'm going to get that ready, and then I will fold this over and locate its mate. And this is just extra wide tape because I like my tape to go all the way around the magnet. It will smooth the edges of the magnet. Now I'm going to recommend that you turn this on its side and look for these gussets and make sure that they're completely straight up and down, so that when you press your magnet into place, you don't have, it's not askew like so. You want to make sure it's upright, and this side as well. So once I have that where I think it belongs, it doesn't look quite right, so it should come. There we go. Actually, that worked really well. So I'm going to adjust my instructions and tell you that the widest gusset, place it down, and then hold this flat, and then press your magnet into place, and then you should have your nice square. Okay? Yeah, that worked out much better than trying to do it on its side this way. Put it actually on its end, the widest gusset end. Hold this flat and press your magnet into place. Okay, we still got one more to do, and I'm sure I'll be an expert by the time I get to the last one. Okay, here we go. So I am going to go ahead and put a green up here, and I think these are all going the same direction. So, okay. So I'm going to put this one up here. I'm going to shift this down so I can get a better look. Dry fit it real quick. Okay, looks good. All right. Now I'm going to slide this down a little so I can see the edges. You're probably looking at the top of my head. Sorry about that, but all right. That looks pretty good. Okay, that's it. Okay, now I'm going to use these orange guys on either end here. And I think that's the way I want them. And I'm going to shuffle this out of the way. My extra pieces. There we go. And then we'll start to close this, and we still need to decide what we're going to use as the base. And again, on top of the base, we will have a policy envelope. This is a directional paper. It is hard for me to tell the direction. I'm not sure it really matters that much, but if you want to be sure, look at the flip side, and it is definitely directional. It has words on it, so it's easy to figure out which way is up. Okay. All right. So for the time being, I'm going to leave this blank, and then I'm going to decide what I want to do here. Excuse me. So these are my options. I've got the words, the stripes, and then the orange guy. And so I think I'm going to use the flip side of the my Oompa Loompa people, which are really not Oompa Loompa people. That's just what it reminds me of. Okay. The flip side of the green is the stamps, which I like, but unfortunately, because of the size of the square that I'm filling, it doesn't fit very neatly. I feel like I've had to cut into too much of the pattern. It kind of loses its appeal. Okay, that's done. So we've got one more. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to flip it. So we have some variation. I like the way that looks. All right, so we still have one more that we need to decide what to do, and I think I'll do this. I'm thinking about it. Yeah, and then that means we'll need one of these in here as well. Okay. Okay, and then I'm going to put a policy envelope here, and I've got two. It comes with 6 policy envelopes, so this is what we have to work with. And I like the black polka dots. I think it stands in pretty good contrast. So I'm trying to alternate the patterns. I'm really liking these policy envelopes. I think they're a lot of fun to use. I used them in the last album with By the Sea, and I saw Annette Green had done a project for Creativation where she had used the policy envelopes. It was really cute. It was a By the Sea, and I've been kind of in love with the idea of these policy envelopes ever since. And I was thinking, oh, I can't wait to use it in the Christmas collection. It turns out this year's Christmas collection doesn't have a lot of red in it, so the red policy envelopes probably aren't going to work. So I'm not sure I'm going to be able to work those in. We'll see. But I like them in general. I think it's a lot of fun. It makes for a really cute pocket. And if you were building it from scratch, it would take quite a bit of effort, but just putting a policy envelope down, wow, get a lot of bang for the buck, and it's pretty easy to lay down. Okay, so we're going to do this last piece, and then we're ready to lay this whole thing into the book. I kind of like that. I'm alternating the pattern so it actually creates a little bit of a chevron when it's the second piece is laid down. So this was fun. I've not done this sort of exploding flap feature before. I've seen it lots of times. I can't even tell you where I've seen it, but I've seen lots of people use it. It's the first time I've tried using it. I like it. It makes for a ton of photo space, for sure. And again, this was the thing that I really wanted to feature. So I knew I wanted to work around this cut apart, and that's kind of what I came up with. Okay, so now we're ready to lay this down. I'm loving this. So pretty. I love the gingham. I'm being generous with the glue. This is actually a pretty heavy feature, so you want to make sure you've got enough adhesive on it. And then I'm just eyeballing it. It's going to be centered. And I'm standing up so I can get a pretty good view top to bottom. Okay. There's a little bit of a bow in the book because of the hinge, so I'm just holding it in place and giving it a little time to set. And then while I'm doing that, I'm going to use my free hand and get out page 5. So we can start looking at what page 5 looks like. Okay. Page 5. Oh, this is so cute. Okay. So this is the large flap, and then the smaller flap. There we go. And then we have an internal piece. And then for the inside flaps, I've decided that I'm going to split the image half and half, so half hearts and then half of that black pattern, which I really like. So that's pretty much what it's going to look like. And these are just laid in loosely for the moment. There we go. I love this image. The scarecrow was really featured in this collection. It's cute. Cute, cute. All right, now I'm going to set these aside. Part of why I like to lay them in is I want to kind of get my head around which direction we're going. Now I'm going to get my contrast paper, and I'm going to go ahead and get this in. I'm going to check to dry fit it real quick to make sure it's trimmed to fit, and it is. It's beautiful. I've done such a better job this video. Seemed like for By the Sea, I had to retrim everything. And I'm doing much better. So, all right. So, while I was working on this album, the Christmas collection came in. So I'm excited about that. It's my next album. It is, that didn't slide into place, so I'm going to start over. It is Joy to the World, Graphic 45, Joy to the World. And I will start, you know what? I thought I dry fit it, and it needs to be trimmed. So I'm going to have to let that dry a little bit. I'm going to shave a sliver off the top. It's a little too tall. So I'm going to let that dry. And I'll chat with you for a minute while that's happening. So anyways, that came in. So we started shipping today, as a matter of fact. Julie has been up to her eyeballs in shipping. So she's been very busy getting out just our regular orders, but whenever a new collection comes out, we really get slammed. So those started shipping today. People are going to be very excited to get them, I know. It's pretty. It's got lots of angels. So that's kind of the theme for this year. Okay, I think it's drying up. I'm going to take a little sliver off, and then we're going to try that one more time. Okay, and I'm going to dry fit it again, or semi-dry fit. That's better. Okay. All right. I'll continue. And I like it. It doesn't seem very traditional in terms of the reds and greens, but it's very pretty. It's very feminine. Very elegant. So one of the things is two things in this collection that I noticed right away from working with their papers. One, this is a pretty typical Graphic 45 signature page. If you look at it in the 12 by 12 format, it is really difficult to split that image. So if you're doing something that's not 10 inches wide, it's really hard to split that image without cutting into something significant in the image. In the new collection, the first thing I noticed when I saw it is the way the cover page is designed. You can actually cut it in half. You can cut it right on the 6-inch line and not cut through a major design feature, which is pretty interesting. I had not seen Graphic do that on any collection before. So for people that like mini minis, this is going to be perfect. You're going to see that you can use every single paper in the collection without having to cut, you know, a square in the middle of your 12 by 12. It looks like it was almost designed so that you could cut the 12 by 12 in half and use each side and have each side independently be beautiful. So that was interesting. The other thing I noticed is in the ephemera, the small ephemera are they are rectangles. They're 3 by 4. I'm going to dry fit this real quick. They're 3 by 4, but they have cut into the design on the corners so that it actually looks like a tag. You can either trim it that way, or it looks like a tag even if you don't trim it, just because of the way they designed the image, which I thought was kind of interesting. So both of those were kind of new things that I hadn't seen in their collections before. And I really like that they're splitting or making the 12 by 12 cover signature page so that you can cut it in half if you want. As somebody who typically makes 8 by 8 mini albums, that's awesome. Because it's really easy to add a strip to your 6-inch width and get the middle of the pattern. So I think that's great. Be interesting to see what other people think. And in my next video, I'm going to do a quick walkthrough of the collection before I actually start building the album, just so you can see all the pages up close and personal. And you'll have to let me know what you think about the two things that I just pointed out. I'll show it to you again when I do the product walkthrough. Okay, so I'm going to stop babbling so I can make sure I get this in the right orientation and a nice border. Okay, I am so pleased with myself today, guys. I don't know what I did when I was trimming this, but I was on the ball. Everything is a perfect right angle and everything is going down beautifully. That's been the whole project so far. It's, hopefully I'm not cursing myself. That's not usually the case. I usually feel like I'm doing a lot of trimming real time when I'm adding my papers. Okay, now I have a decision to make, and I think part of the reason I'm going back to the Tin Man is I don't feel like he got his due in the collection. Like there's this whole spread on the Scarecrow, and the Tin Man and the Lion don't get very much paper time. So I'm going to go ahead and leave him up. And I'm double checking the fit and it looks pretty good, but I'm gonna change my angle so I can see the edges a little better. And that looks pretty good. Yeah, okay, that looks good. So I am going to go ahead and get this down. Okay, just as a reminder, we are actually on we're working on page 5 right now. Page 5. Okay, now I do know I'm going to have to do a little bit of trimming for the inside flaps, the B-sides. I just rough cut the design paper I wanted to use, so we're going to have to do a little measuring. And, oops, I apologize about that. Double check. Either that or they might overlap. We shall see. We shall see. Which I guess I'm okay with. So, do we want black up or black down? I like it both ways. Sorry, I've got so much glue on my fingers. What do you say, guys? I think I like it this way. Yeah. Okay. So I am going to put this piece in first, I think. And because I have a magnet right here in the middle, a lot of times I'll leave a black strip right in the middle, and I don't think I'm going to do that. I'm going to slightly overlap these two pieces of paper. So there's two ways we can do that. We can put it in and overlap it. And then the other way is to butt these two against each other and then run a strip of tape in the middle and then trim it down to fit the page. So you can do either one. One's going to have a little bit of a lip over it and the other would be much smoother. I like both methods. But I don't feel like re-inking, so I'm going to overlap. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to lay it down as is. And then there'll just be a slight overlap. And then chances are, when I go back and start to embellish the album, I will run yet another strip across the seam. A contrasting strip across the seam of what color I don't know yet, but there'll be something that runs across the middle. And I will show that to you in the embellishment when I do the embellishments as part of the walkthrough. That kind of detail I don't usually go over in the installation. That's me sitting in front of the TV, really taking my time, adding the little bits and elements. And I do try to take my time in the walkthrough to go over that with you, but I don't show the installation. Already it is probably approaching 4 hours of tutorials, and it would be, you know, a little bit more. That's quite a bit. So I can tell you though, in the cover, I'm going to use the signature page, and that I've done a lot of fussy cutting, and I'm liking the way that it's turning out. I'm going to be featuring both Dorothy and the lion are going to be double cut and layered, and I've done the cutting already. I haven't put it together yet, but I'll pull this back in. But I've fussy cut the lion, a second image of the lion to pop him up, and part of Dorothy. And I've done a couple of different kinds of techniques to pop it, and I will share that with you in the walkthrough as well. Okay, so that's what I've done. I've slightly overlapped it, and then I'll probably come in. There's some stickers in the collection, and I may, excuse me, use a strip of stickers to go across the edge of this to even add more interest there. So that is page 5. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing on this side. I'm going to dry fit real quick. Excuse me. Pardon me. And we're going to do the hearts on the bottom to make sure it fits. And it does. And then we'll do the dots on top. So we're going to do this first. And I didn't design it this way, but you can. This could easily have been a pocket. I didn't do it partly because I didn't want additional bulk. But the other reason is because of these exploding flap features, you really have a lot of space for photos. You don't really need to add a bunch of pockets. I do have some pockets in the collection. This page doesn't have one. Collection I meant in the album. So there's tons of room for photos. And I just like the collage layout, you know, so that if you had a photo here, it's not just one solid pattern behind it. I like to mix it up a little bit, especially if it's a wider flap. I need my contrast sheet. The black on black is always a little tricky. Okay, brushing all that into place, and that is page 5. So I'll go over that real quick. So this is page 5. Okay, and then here's our page 4 with our policy envelope. I'm really liking this. This is a lot of fun. Okay. Now we are on to page 6 and 7. So page 6, we've seen this before. It's 2 doors. And this is the one where I'd accidentally glued the pocket to the top in the first place, but was able to recover. So we've got a pocket in there. This is a simple flat page, and that's because we're going to have another one of those exploding boxes here. So let's take a look at page 6. Here are my bits for page 6. Page 6, I love these poppies. That's where we're going to use the poppies. And on this side is Dorothy, so I kind of like the idea of the poppies being adjacent to Dorothy, because there was that scene where she's in the field of poppies. And I'm just dry fitting real quick. I need to turn it sideways. Hello, Nala. My puppy just walked back in. And these do need to be adjusted. They're a little bit long. I actually trimmed them right at 8 inches so they're not nested. So I'm taking 1/8 of an inch off. Right, Nala? She says, yeah, that's right. That's what you said. And that does just right. So now I'm going to use my contrast paper and take a look at the width. And that looks right on. Okay, so we trimmed an edge, so we're going to have to ink that edge. And here it is. All right, I'm going to do this one real quick as well. Okay. I'm checking my orientation. That is up, and this is up for the pattern. Just double checking. Not quite. Very close, but not quite. Better. Okay. It was just a little low. So just a quick adjustment. If you catch it fast enough, the glue will not have grabbed. Okay, we're going to do the same thing on this side. Okay, so there's the 2 doors. I think that's beautiful. and if I was paying attention, these would have been reversed because that's where I split the paper. I don't think anybody else is going to notice. So I'm going to wind up putting some sort of a feature on top of here. I don't know what yet. This is something I set aside just to help remind me that I want to do that. Okay, and we have I think I'm going to do these hearts, and then I had this green, and then this is the centerpiece, and that's a lot of poppies, but I love them. I just think they're gorgeous. So I originally designed this as a single mat inside here, and then decided during the build process that I wanted to add a pocket. So I need to split this paper. So I'm looking for my pencil, and I'm going to trim it right there. Okay, so this will go on top, and then I could flip it so that I have two images, but I'm not sure I like that. I think I like just all the poppies, just a continuation. So I think that's what I'll do. And because I trimmed it, I know I need to ink it. So I'll do that real quick. Oops, my whole ink pad came off. That's interesting. Sorry about that. Got a lot of ink on there. Okay, that looks good. And then I have one edge. There we go. So as I recall, the last time I did this, I really had some trouble getting it tucked under the edge of the pocket. So I am going to double check and make sure I've got enough of an opening to get behind the pocket, and I do. And then I think I'm going to try to hold this more flat as I slide the paper in instead of leaning it down, because I'm dealing with some of the bulk of the book. Sorry for all the shuffling. It's not like me. Yeah, I think if I hold it straight, I'll be able to slide under. Yeah, that was much easier. So I'm going to turn it around so the top is near me, and then I'm going to hold it while I slip it in place. And hopefully that'll help me out. Last time I tried to do it laying flat, and I think that was a mistake. I think this will help me out. Okay, now this is going to be one of those things where one more hand would be helpful. Okay, I'm going to try to hold it flat while I slip it under. There, that was much easier than the first go round. Okay, now I'm just shifting it up and over. Okay, and it works out beautifully. I was able to cover where I had made my original error. So everything is covered. I feel good about that. I'm going to glue those two in place and then put the pocket on. Or the pocket designer paper, not the pocket. The pocket's here. I just need to cover it. All right, there we go. Turn it right side up again. this goes in right here. Okay, perfect. We'll stick some interesting tags in there later, but right now we'll focus on just flaps. Okay, so I like the green because it pulls the green out of this pattern, and I think that looks pretty. So how do I want to do this? Oh, what is it, sweetie? What is it, Nala? Okay, so here's what I'm going to do, and I like the way this is turning out. This, the stripes are the same height as the top panel, so I'm actually going to overlap it in this way so that there's sort of this continuation of a line from here across. So otherwise it would look like this, a little bit more stepped. And I think this looks a little more polished. That's the plan. So I'm going to get some glue on here, get the tape back off. We're making good progress on page 6. Okay. Okay, do that one more time on this side. Okay, now we're ready to put these in, and I'm actually going to trim these down so that they fit just right. That should work. Let's take a look. And yes, sir, it does. Okay, I need a little ink. A little glue. So one of the tricks when you're trimming to fit exactly into the book is I like to put a tick mark on both sides, because there are times when things don't line up exactly square. And then when you put it in your trimmer, if you line up the 2 tick marks, you can cut at an angle if needed. It's ideally you want it to be a right angle, but things don't always work out that way. So if you do a tick mark on either side, you're sure to have it fit perfect. And if you put it in your trimmer and the 2 tick lines line up, even better. Even better. It means it was a right angle, which is perfect and ideal, but not always possible. Okay. Okay, perfect. All right, and I'll probably come back and add a trim here too. And I just got a little glue up there because it was left over on my finger. So I'm going to leave that open for a minute. I've been known to close it and have it glue, and I've torn my paper before. And I think if you've watched me for a while, you've seen me do that. It happens to the best of us. So let's see. Make sure, yeah, it's dry now. Okay, so there is, there's tons of poppies, but I love them. There is our page 6. We're on to page 7. Page 7 is going to feature another one of the pop-ups. So we're going to get a mat in, and then we're going to do the flip fold, and there is the cover of this. So that's what's going to go here. So that pulls this in beautifully. And then on this side, I couldn't settle on a pattern, so I decided to do both. So I'm actually splitting this page like so. This will become the base mat. This will sit on top of that, and I really like the way that looks. So what I'm decided to do on this one is I'm actually going to run, I'm butting these two against each other, and I'm going to run a piece of tape across here, one of my wider pieces, and then I'm going to trim this to fit as though it were a single piece. Hopefully that makes sense to everybody. And I got in here without my little tool that tears tape. So I'm going to go ahead and start by laying it on one half, and then I'm going to lay the other half in. But this way I can tear the tape off without, there we go. Okay, so as you can see, it's half on and half off. And I'm going to lay this in right on top of it. And I'm coming at it at kind of an angle so that it's not grabbing before I'm ready. And then we're going to burnish that all in place. And that is going to become the mat for this page. So there you go. So I didn't focus on explaining it, but do make sure that you've got your Oz or your words orientation going the way you want, so that I didn't accidentally put it in upside down. All right, now I'm going to dry fit it and see if it fits. Hopefully it does. If it doesn't, we're going to trim it to fit exactly. And it looks like I need to trim it anyway because one of the pieces was a little wider than the other. Ever so slightly. Okay, let's take a look at that. Get my contrast sheet in. That looks pretty good, guys, so I'm pretty happy with that. So we're going to get some glue all over the back of this, and then in addition to that, we'll take off that strip and lay it down. And you'll want to put glue on your strip so that you can maneuver your paper until you get it where you want it. Otherwise, the tape will grab before the glue, and it'll make a decision for you, with or without you. So I'm getting some glue on that as well as the rest of the paper. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to turn it toward me and lay it down. And I like holding it at an angle till I get it sort of up and down where I want it, and then I can scoot it toward me. That looks pretty darn good. Ooh, I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, so now you know how to put a two-piece together. That's pretty easy. And it makes for an interesting mat, not just all one solid mat. Okay, I'm going to hold that in place for a second. Get off some of my excess glue. Okay. If you don't have a brush, you should get one. It doesn't have to be an architectural brush, but even a paintbrush to keep your space clear. I'm constantly rolling glue off the edge of my fingers so it gets everywhere. And most of the time it's dry, but you never know. Okay, so that's in. Then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to set this aside. And then we're going to focus on constructing this piece. Okay, so there's the wide edge. Let's go ahead and get our magnets in. Let's do that first for a change. We need 2 pieces of tape, 2 fat pieces of tape, preferably. There. Okay, and as I went over last time, I think the best method now is the widest gusset you have will be the one at the top. So stand it on its end, push this gusset into place, and then once you line up all 4 corners, so these are lined up by definition, but line up these top 2 corners, and then come across and push that magnet into place. And you're in. That's good. That's awesome. Okay, I'm liking that technique. That was a lot easier than the first couple of attempts. Okay, so let's get this in. We are really moving along. These are going faster because I'm learning more. The more I put them together, the faster I go, and I think you will too. Okay, that is beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, now we're ready to start covering the insides. Okay. All right. Let's see, what we're going to have a policy envelope on the inside. So here's my choices. These are the patterns I have. I've already used one of these and I've used one of these. So this is the one I haven't used. So let's go ahead and use it. Mix it up a little. So I'm gonna try to decide. I did the other ones, figured everything out and then figured out what the base was, but I'm gonna do this one. Oh, I love him. Oh, how can I cut into that? How can I put glue on that? So that's one of my choices. I think I like the blue gingham for the base of this. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put that in, and then the policy envelope will go on top of that. And then we can pick the other ones. After that. Okay. So one of the things I want to point out, the policy envelopes, these little circle reinforcers that you tie the twine around are really, really flat to the envelope. So I would recommend working on those before you put it in the book, so you're not trying to lift them while it's in the book. I had difficulty pulling some of those up, and there is a grommet. Is it a grommet? I guess it's a grommet. That holds the twine in place, and it's also holding that disc in place, and if you tug on it at all, it will pop right off, as I found out. So I would recommend working those before you put it in the book, and I used a spatula, but you can use your pick tool or whatever, just sort of go around the edge and turn it up a little bit so that you can get the twine under it. And once you work it once or twice, it's fine. But I had tried to do it with my fingers, and I promptly popped the whole grommet out. So, and I don't have a grommet tool, so I couldn't even repair it if I wanted to. Just FYI. Okay, so that's in. Now we have some other choices to make. So we've got this Oz, and then we've got the Yellow Brick Road. And I kind of like that. I think that's what I'm going to go with. 2 yellow brick roads. Got the paisley, or not paisley, but the gingham in the middle. Okay, beautiful. That's what I'm going to do. Okay, that's in. Let's go ahead and get the yellow brick road in. And I'm just dry fitting as usual, so I'm just looking to make sure my margins are all even and consistent before I get the glue on. And we're looking for these 3 sides because we know we have extra space on the hinge area because we're trying to build up. Okay. I actually might have somebody at my house, so I might have to take a break. I was hoping to get all the way to page 7, but it may not happen today. I mean, I said page 7. I meant page 8. I meant all the pages. We are on page 7. Okay, that's in, that's in. So this is the last piece. And just to make it easy for me, I'm going to turn it around so I can see the 3 edges. And I'm going to make sure that I've got my word going the right way. We don't want Zoe, we want Oz. That got a little heavy. All right, I think I'm gonna have to stop right there and then come back and do the A side of this. I'm gonna turn it right side up. So we still need, so all the insides are done. We still need to do the A sides, okay? And I'm loving this so much. I think I'm gonna put him face up right here. And then I'll use the plaid here. And the Oz here, I think. I'll be right back. Hey, my husband is a Jeeper and he just got back from the trail, so I had to say hello. And I'm back and we're gonna go ahead and finish up page 7, and we are gonna do page 8 today. And like I said, I just love this guy. There's just no way I could cut into him, so he's going to be a feature. That wasn't the plan, but I like to change things up as I go. So yeah, so we're making good time. And page 8 is pretty straightforward. It's just 2 flaps and a pocket. So it goes pretty fast. This isn't hard. This feature is not hard. It's just a lot of paper to put down, so it does take a little bit of time. I mean, it's 8 pieces of paper, so it does take a little bit of time. And there we go. Lovely, lovely. Now that's a nice surprise when you open it up. You get to see his funny face. Let's get off my excess glue. Okay, so now this one has got front and back, A and B. That's good. Now we still need to do these 2. I'm trying to decide what I want to do. I think I want to do that and this, just because that was too much blue. Even if it's two different patterns, it seems like a lot of blue. That's the other option. I don't like these side by side, so I don't like that. So this is an option. Or that and this, and that's it. That's what I'm gonna do. It's typical shuffling around at the last minute. Get my contrast in here. That'll help me see my edges. I'm not happy with that, so I'm going to go at it one more time. I think my glue's still wet enough. Better, better, better. Okay, and now we're gonna do this. It's another funny face. All right, that's nice and neat, and this is going to go right on top of page 7 right here. Okay, I'm going to stand up because I want to get completely over my paper so I can center this. And you can measure this. I just like to eyeball it. That's kind of my thing. I spend all my time on design, not on placement. Okay, I'm going to open it up so I can push down the center. Okay, I think that's in. There we go. That looks beautiful. So that is page 7, and here's page 8. So we just have these 2 flaps and a pocket. And I forgot to put the magnets in earlier, so we need to do that. But I'm also noticing, and I think I mentioned this on the construction, my corners aren't marrying up exactly right. It's not off by much, but you can see there's a little tag here and a little tag here. So one of these 2 pieces is not in straight. I'm going to fix that before I put my designer paper down. Okay, I'm back. I went ahead and put the magnets in while we were away. So I placed one on here and then the adjoining magnet on this side. So there we go. And I'm ready to go ahead and lay the designer paper in. So I did want to point out where I put the magnets in. I forgot that in tutorial 1, but we are ready now to lay the designer paper in, and that's going to be it for this video. The rest will be in the following video. I will cover the insides and outsides of the album, the covers, the outside covers, but the pages will be done. And then also, as part of the last video, we'll go over, oh, I missed the ink on there. We'll go over the inserts. I think I'm going to add some tabs to the insert. There are stamps in this collection that I think will make for pretty pull tabs on the inserts, but I haven't decided yet. So I will go over that in the next video. So we're almost done. I'm excited. It's good timing too because I'm really running out of light. It's getting harder and harder for me to see. Okay, and then I want to get a little ink on this. And I'm going to do the same thing I did on the other pocket. I'm gonna stand this page upright, away from the page it's laying on so that it's more flat when I try to slide this in. I think that was helpful. I also want to make sure my edges are, yes, the edges are open to slip the designer paper in. And this is a lot of green, but this is the Emerald City page, and the first one was the Wicked Witch page, so it's kind of wraps the whole album up. So there's green on the outside and green on the inside, kind of like I did the witch. It's purple inside now, although there is some black. Purple and black. Okay. And I'm going to put it in the right way. Okay, like I said, I'm going to hold it up straight. I'm going to straighten it out a little. And then it should slide into the pocket more easily. Should. I'll get that flap out of the way. Yeah, there we go. That wasn't too bad. Now I'm going to turn it so I can see, and then I'm just going to ever so carefully slide it up until I have an even border and press it into place. That's that. Okay, I'm gonna hold that down for a second. We're gonna come back and tack down these two corners and then get the flaps covered. Okay, that is looking good. I'm going to turn everything right side up, and thank goodness I got this pocket in the right way. And there we go. That was kind of tight. I think my paper is a little bit into my score here. So I'm going to make sure it's really pressed down. Okay, there we go. And now the two outside pieces. So I came up with this because this is basically one of the signature pages in the collection, and it has the wizard. And like I said, the first one is the witch, the last one is the wizard, and then all in between are the rest of the characters. I'm going to get my contrast out, get it under here, there we go. We're gonna just about be wrapped up. And then tonight, it's all about editing. Okay. That's it. Now I'm gonna do this side. Quick dry fit. Looks good. I'm going to turn it around so I can get a little bit better view of these two corners. holding that in place, making sure everything is grabbing. It looks good. So there is the close, there's no place like home, closing page in the album. So that is it for page, oop, no it's not. That's almost it for page 8. So now we have 2 pieces that need to be applied. Here and here, and it appears that I didn't trim them. So I'm going to stop here. When I come back for the last video, we're going to cover those 2 inside panels because these are not trimmed to fit. And I may, since I have to trim something out, I may pick something else. I haven't decided. But that is the end of the album. And I'm going to walk through that really quick. So there's our first page, The Witch, with a nice deep pocket. And here's our first exploding flaps with our policy envelope in between, or in the middle. We've got our doors here that open up in a nice pocket. It's our second exploding book. There we go. And I want to let you guys know that I use 65-pound cardstock for this, and you could go stiffer if you wanted. Okay, and then we've got another set of doors here, lots and lots of poppies. This is our last exploding feature. There we go. And then page 8, and like I said, I'm going to come back and line this when I come back to do the rest of the album, which will be, there'll be one more tutorial. So thanks everybody for tuning in and sharing your time with Scrap and Create. We appreciate it. If you haven't already, please subscribe and you'll be notified of new content as we make it available. We do our best to try to get something out at least every 2 weeks, but we've been actually doing better than that. We've been getting something out about once a week. If you like Graphic 45, Stamperia, Ciao Bella, those are our signature brands. We'll try to bring content to you as quickly as we can. Again, thanks for tuning in and watching us. If you haven't already, please like, subscribe, and share. We appreciate you guys spending your time with us, and thanks for tuning in. This is Daphne signing out for now.